guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new, and if you're not new, welcome back. Today I am going to be talking about why I moved to Dallas. So it's been on my heart to share my story and share my testimony on why I moved to Dallas. I don't really know why, but I just feel like I was always going to make this video. I just didn't know when or whatever. I kind of was just waiting on the right time, and I definitely feel that now is the right time for me to tell my story on why I decided to move to Dallas. So if you're new here, or if you haven't been following me on my other social media platforms, I moved to Dallas from Chicago. I grew up in Illinois my entire life. I have never lived in another state outside of Illinois ever since I've been born. Now, I am from a northern suburb of Chicago. I'm not gonna say what suburb, but I'm from the northern suburbs. My entire mom's side of my family is from the south side of Chicago. And I'm very, very, very familiar with the city of Chicago. Now, we all know how people from Chicago are. If you are not from the city of Chicago, you cannot say that you are from the city of Chicago. So I'll never try to false flag or claim or say that I'm from Chicago. I only say I'm from Chicago if I'm talking to someone that will have no clue where the suburb that I grew up in is or what that is. I'll just say, hey, I'm from Chicago. Now, if you're from Chicago, we can get into the technicals. Now, anyways, I spent a lot of time in Chicago on the south side with my family, summers, weekends. I'm very familiar with Chicago, and specifically the south side. But technically, yes, I grew up in the suburbs, went to school in the suburbs, whatever. So I lived in Chicagoland area for like the entirety of my life. Like for the past, and then I've lived in the actual city of Chicago for the past 8 years. Before I moved. So I think I've lived in Chicago for like 7 to 8 years. Yes. So I decided to move to Dallas. I moved to Dallas last year. It's crazy, but I've been here for an entire year. I thought I would have made this video sooner, but when I tell you guys, life really just flies by. It really, really, really flies by. I can't believe it's been a year since I've been in Dallas. Oh my gosh. It's just crazy to even say. So I'm just gonna start from the beginning all the way up until me moving to Dallas, and hopefully the story is not too, actually no, the story's not gonna be too long. The story is great. Stick around for my testimony, because this is a testimony from God. Okay, so God brought me to Dallas. I do not know why. But what I know for sure and for certain is that God brought me to Dallas for sure. I am 100% locked in with God. I have a very close relationship with God. I pray every night. Sometimes I pray multiple times a day. Me and God are locked in, okay? God brought me to Dallas. Now, I have always been a traveler. I've loved to travel. I love to travel to different places, whatever. And I've always like realized like, hey, I've never lived outside of Illinois. Like I see people moving all the time for work, for this, for that. And I'm like, that's something that I have never done. And I'm like, why haven't I never done that? That's just a thought that would constantly come up. But you know, I'll just like, whatever, push it to the back. So the summer, the October after I had just taken the July bar exam after I graduated law school, my friend Tia was celebrating her birthday, and she was going to Houston. She's like, I'm going to Houston for my birthday, whatever. And like, you know, I had never been to Houston, but obviously I heard that Houston was lit. It's a good time, whatever. I don't know. I was just like, yeah, let's go. Like, I want to go. And also, I wasn't in a good headspace because I didn't pass the bar. So I was like in a really negative sad, depressed headspace, and my friend said she was going to Houston to celebrate her birthday, I said, you know what, yeah, I want to go. Like, you know, I'm gonna go to celebrate my friend and her birthday, and this will be a fun trip. It'll, you know, hopefully this can get me out my funk and just give me something to look forward to. So went on that trip, had a ball. I loved Houston. Like, we stayed at this really cute, nice Airbnb. Like, it was just so cute. It was decorated so cute. It had a cute little outdoor like pool, like hot tub with the greenery. It was very like modern, futuristic. Like, I loved it. So first of all, the Airbnb was perfect, and then like we just went to brunch, we went out to the club, it was lit. The whole weekend was lit. We had a great time. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love Houston. I want to move here. You know, just like everybody, you know, it's a joke when you go to a new city, you be like, I love it here, I want to move here. That's how I was about Houston. So ever since that trip, I was like, I'm moving to Houston. And the crazy thing is, I can't remember if I wanted to move to Texas before that, but I do know that I was like thinking about moving somewhere else. I can't really remember, but I know that trip definitely solidified it for me. I'm like, yeah, I'm moving to Houston. Like, I'm gonna move to Houston. So I just had that in the back. I'm like, yes, I'm moving to Houston one day. Like, I'm gonna figure out a way, and I want to move to Houston. So that's what like initially sparked my interest for Texas. So fast forward, I take the bar again that February, because you can only take the bar in July and February. So I didn't pass the July bar after I graduated law school. So I geared up to take it again. Took it again the following February. I passed, and then I began working. Yeah, so I worked for a year, and then I got this law firm job. Yeah, I clerked for a judge for a year, and then after I clerked for that judge, I ended up getting a job at a law firm. Now, I was working at this law firm, and when I started working at that law firm, I already knew that I wanted to move to Texas. Like, I knew I wanted to move to Texas. It was just a matter of me figuring out how I was gonna get to Texas. Like, that was really what it was. But, you know, in the meantime, like, I need a job, I need more money, because, you know, I need more money. Like, honestly, I like nice things. I like hair, I like makeup, I like perfume, I like to look good, smell good, I like clothes, I like bags, I like to travel. I needed more money. And in the legal profession, like, when you clerkships don't make as much money as a law firm job. So like, I'm like, I need more money. So I'm working at this law firm, and I'm just trying to figure it out. Like, how can I make my way to Texas? I'm also doing content creation. I've always been a creative at heart, and I have made up my mind my last year of law school that I wanted to focus on content, and I did want to be a content creator. So yes, I was working in my job, I was focused on my content, I was making my little content while I was also working at my old law firm. And yeah, I just remember from this time, I just remember me working at my job, and me like just like in the back of my mind, like, I want to move to Texas. Like, I gotta move to Texas. Like, I don't know, like, I was just trying to plot and think about how I could get to Texas. So long story short, I knew that I really wanted, y'all, I was saving up my money. So I was saving up my money that I would get from my law firm job to move to Texas. I wanted to buy a house in Texas. Like, I'm like, I want to get a house. Like, I was saving up a lot of my, like, I think I was saving up like half of my checks, or maybe even more than half of my checks. Like, at this time, I was living with my mom. She had moved to Chicago. The year that I graduated law school, I was living with my mom, and I had originally planned to only live with my mom for 1 year. Now, I did not have to move in with my mom. I could have just went off on my own, got a job, grinded, pay my rent. You know what I'm saying? I could have done that. However, I'm like, how can I how can I move smart and how can I, you know, like be better? You know what I'm saying? Like, I really strive to be better than who came before me. Like, my mom did an amazing job getting from where she started to where she is now. Like, my mom did an amazing job taking care of me, raising me, pointing me in the right direction, and I always strive to be better than her because I don't want her effort to go in vain. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a naturally ambitious person, and I strive for more. So where was I going with that? Okay, yeah. So I was like, you know what? It would be a good idea if I just lived with my mom for a year so I could stack up my money. So when I move out of her house, I will have a cushion. I'll have savings. I'll have an emergency fund. You know, I'll do it the right way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want to just go out in the world and then be struggling paycheck to paycheck, not even having an emergency fund, not even having nothing extra. Like, I wanted to really try to do it the right way. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to live with my mom, stack up my bread. And when I move out, like, you know, I'll be good. Like, I won't have to ask my mom for money. I won't need her for nothing. I won't need no one for anything. I will be good on my own. That was my plan. I was gonna live with her for a year, stack up my money, move out. Now, it didn't exactly work out that way because I ended up failing the bar the first time, so that extended my year. So I had to take the bar again. That was like a few months. That was like an extra few months of not working and just strictly focusing on studying for the bar. Then I got a job clerking for a judge, and like, I was making the most money I had ever made, but that was nowhere near what I thought I would be making after law school and what I wanted to be making. So after that clerkship, then, you know, I got a law firm job because I'm like, I need more money. Like, what? So at my law firm job, I'm saving like almost half of my check. So this is thousands of dollars. I'm literally straight to my savings. Straight to my, like, when I tell you guys, I was locked in. I was focused. As soon as I got paid, every time I got paid, savings. I paid myself first because I'm like, I gotta get out of here. I want to live on my own. I want to move to Texas. It's time to go. So I was saving up for a down payment for a house and to move to Texas. So I even went to Texas to look at houses. Like, I found a realtor in Houston. I went down to Houston. I was looking at houses. Like, I was like this close to buying a house in Houston. However, I ended up quitting my job at the law firm. And that's another story for another day. And I actually do plan on telling y'all that story. So stay tuned because I will be telling the story of me quitting my first law firm job. So I ended up quitting my job, right? And I still had plans on moving to Texas, but I came up with a plan, like, on how I was gonna make income. Like, when I tell you guys, before I quit my job, I came up with a very, very, very intricate plan on entrepreneurship. So I was gonna have, I want to save this for my other video of like when I quit my job, but yeah, I had a plan for myself on how I was gonna make money. And whatever, I quit my job, and then I'm like, oh snap, like, how am I gonna buy this house in Houston when I don't have a job? And like, how was I gonna get past the loan officers, like my, proof of income? Like, I was talking to the loan officer. Like, guys, I was so close to buying my house, and then I ended up quitting my job because I'm like, I can't do this. Like, it was just, I was in a toxic work situation, and I just was like, this isn't for me. And I'm like, I don't want to do this, whatever. So I came up with my own plan, which was a realistic, doable, viable plan. It was just for unforeseen circumstances didn't work out. I'm gonna get to that in a different video, another story for another day. So I realized, I'm like, what did I do? Like, I'm not gonna be able to buy a house in Texas anymore. And I'm like, there's just no way that I can move to Texas no more. Like, it's just not realistic right now. So my plans to move to Texas were put on pause for like a year. And I was just like, I would just pray to God like this. So this period I wasn't working at a law firm. I had opened my own business. So I opened a public speaking business because I want to be a public speaker, a motivational speaker, and I am a public speaker. I am a motivational speaker. I have a website. Check out my website, BriannaPanton.com, and please book me if you have any public speaking engagements or if you're in any organization where you guys need a motivational speaker. I speak about self-care. I speak about a lot of different topics. Just go on my website, how to take care of yourself, how to manage your time and your stress, how to take care of yourself when you're working in toxic work environments, how to find your purpose in life, how to be confident and be the best version of yourself. Okay, so anyways, fast forward. So I opened a public speaking business. I was doing content, and I also was planning on having a car rental service. I literally had bought the course and everything. Like long story short, my plan was I was gonna do a car rental. I was gonna do car rentals. So I was gonna rent out cars on Turo, and that's where I was gonna make my money from renting out cars on Turo. And then I also was gonna be working on my content and posting every day, posting consistently. And then I just hope that with my consistency of me posting every day on social media, that I would blow up, I would get brand deals, and people would book me for public speaking. Now, I still think I had a great plan, and I do think that it could have worked. It was like my execution, I couldn't execute at the rate that I wanted to because of my mental health. And that's all I will say. It's like my mental health during that time, I was in a really, really, really rough spot because I was just questioning myself. I was questioning my purpose. The people around me, I felt like they didn't believe in me. I felt like people looked at me like I was crazy. I know for a fact that people were talking about me crazy because I posted a video talking about how I had quit my law firm job and how I wanted to pursue public speaking and content creation. And I know people were like, what the heck? Like, nobody was expecting that. I know people were talking about me. So I had all those things like running in the back of my mind, on top of me living with my mom. And my mom was just like, what the heck are you doing? Like, why did you go to law school? How could you just quit your job? I didn't tell my mom because I already knew she wasn't going to want me to do it. I had to make that decision for myself. So it was a lot going on mentally, and I couldn't properly execute my plan the way I wanted to because my mental health was not in a good state. So once I realized, like, okay, Brianna, this isn't working out. Like, you really just need a job so you can move out of your mom's house. Like, what you gonna do? So once I finally realized, like, okay, this isn't working, like, I need money now. And oh yeah, I did have savings, right? Keep that in mind. When I quit my job, I had a lot of savings because I was planning on buying a house. So I was really just surviving off my savings. Like, all my expenses, I paid for it. My mom didn't give me an allowance. She didn't give me any money. The only thing that I was relying on my mom for was food and shelter. Everything else I paid on my own. That's it. I never asked my mom for a dime. I never asked my mom for nothing. I think I maybe asked her for something once or twice, and it was when I was in an emergency situation. Other than that, no. So anyways, fast forward, I get a new job. I started applying to jobs because I'm like, okay. I realized something clicked. I'm just like, okay. Oh no, I got down to my last $2,000, and I was just like, okay, Brianna, what you gonna do? Like, one thing about me is, I don't know. Like, I need money. I need money. That's one thing about me. Like, I need my money for my, look, so I got down to my last $2,000 of my savings, and I was like, Brianna, what are you gonna do? I'm like, what's going on? You got $2,000 to your name. This ain't gonna cut it. So I'm like, okay, you gotta get a job and you gotta get out this house, because living with my mom was not good for my mental health. And that's all I'm gonna say. It's just, it wasn't good for her mental health. I don't think she was in a mentally healthy place at the time. She was fresh off dealing with a divorce. I was in a mental healthy spot. I had just not passed the bar, and then I didn't like my job and I quit my job, and you know, I'm going through these career changes, and like, I don't know, I'm having a quarter life crisis. Like, I truly felt like I was having a quarter life crisis. I'm like, what is going on? What am I doing? I felt it was an out of body experience, seriously, because never in a million years would I have thought I would have done something like that. And okay, I'm getting off topic. I'm really getting off topic. This is supposed to be for the other video. So anyways, I started looking for jobs, and I got a job immediately. Remote, making good money. I'm like, yes, I can get out of here. So I started working for that job. I was making good money. I was saving my money. I was saving. Like, when I tell you, again, savings account. I was saving a certain percentage of my money straight to my savings account, and I wanted a certain amount of money saved before I left, because I needed enough money to move, to pay the movers, down payment, whatever. And then I also wanted enough money to have an emergency fund, so that in case, you know, I was out of a job for whatever reason, I would still have a couple of months of my expenses saved up. And I did not want to rely on my mom for a dime. I didn't want to have to ever move back with my mom or anyone else. I didn't want to have to rely on anyone else. So I had a certain number in my head that I wanted to save up, and I literally just saved up that number. Like, I literally calculated how many checks I needed to get in order to save the number that I wanted to save. And once I got to that number, like, once I started inching closer, that's when I started planning. Like, I visited Dallas to look for apartments. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm skipping such a huge step. So during the time when I had like quit my job, I think I had seen this other video of this other girl talking about how she moved. I don't know if she had moved to Dallas, but I know she had moved to a new state. And like, every time I would get on YouTube, I would see something about moving. Like, I kid you not, it would be like, so and so, why I moved to a new state, why I moved here, whatever. And then I would see a whole bunch of videos like, pack your bags, you're moving. Like, pack your bags, you're moving. It just kept coming up. Like, I was not searching for it or anything. It just kept coming up in my timeline. And during this time, it was a very, like I said, like, rough, difficult period for me mentally. So I was heavily like relying on God. Like, I prayed so much. Like, every day I watched every day I would watch like prophetic videos, like, or people just like different videos related to God. Like, they were just talking about the word of God, and you know, it was kind of like, I'm getting a little bit emotional, but it was like motivational videos, but it was like through the word of God. So I would watch those videos every day. Like, I would just, cause I needed that positive reinforcement in my ear. Cause it's like, this period of my life was very isolating. Like, cause I just felt like, I don't know, when I had announced that I was quitting my job and that I was going full-time to a content creator, a lot of people like did not talk to me. And I don't know if that's because they were just like, what are you doing? I don't know if it's because they didn't feel like I was valuable anymore because I quit the legal profession. But I just noticed a shift in other people towards me. And I felt the judgment. Like, I felt the judgment. I felt the shift in people's perspective towards me. And it was an isolating feeling. So I really didn't feel like I had like too much support or people to rely on. So when you don't have nobody to rely on, who do you rely on? You rely on God, because you're always going to have God. So I relied on God heavily. And I remember thinking like, gosh, should I move to, I felt just very isolated from people. Like it just felt like I didn't really have anybody. And also I didn't feel like I really had support for my friends. I mean, the people that were my friends at the time, and you would think like they would support me during that period, because if your friend quits their job, like there's something going on with them, right? Like there's something going on with them. So you want to kind of show up and be supportive of whatever they're going through mentally, right? But I didn't feel like that. So like I said, I felt very isolated. I felt very alone. I relied on God. So I just remember one day I'm like, should I move to Texas? Should I move to Texas? Like, God, please give me a, and when I originally was moving to Texas, when I wanted to move to Houston, I told the world, I told everybody, and it wasn't like I felt like I needed to make an announcement. I just, at that point in my life, I didn't know how valuable it was to just keep your plans to yourself. So at that point in my life, I was just like, yeah, girl, I want to move to Texas. And I talked to people that like was living in Texas, like, hey, yeah, girl, I'm moving to Texas. Hey, yeah, girl, I'm moving. Like, you know, like, it's like once I have a thought in my mind, I just be wanting to tell, like, yeah, girl, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So I'm like, yeah, I'm moving to Texas. Like, I'm moving to Texas, whatever. Just trying to reach out to the people that I knew that lived in Texas. And then it didn't happen. I didn't move to Texas because, you know, I quit my job, and then I was relying on my money to survive that I was going to use for my down payment or whatever. So it didn't happen. So when I had got my new job, you know, it still was something that I wanted to do in the back. I mean, it's still something I wanted to do, but I was still a little hesitant about it, because I'm just like, you know, I was planning to do it. It didn't work out. And I asked God, I'm like, God, if I should move to Texas, like, please. I watched this video of this girl, and she was like, yeah, I just asked God to, like, if I should move here, like, show me a license plate. And literally she said the next day God showed her the license plate. So she was like, that's how she knew it was from God, whatever. So I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna try that same thing. So I just remember one day I prayed to God, and I said, God, if I am supposed to move to Texas, then please let me see a Texas license plate. And I said, God, please make it obvious. I was like, because sometimes I know you'll send me a sign and I might not catch it. I'm like, so God, please make it obvious that this sign is from you. And I said, amen. And I just left it alone. After that, I said that prayer and I left it alone. And I just lived my life. And maybe like a month later, I was driving on the expressway in Chicago, just driving on the expressway. And all of a sudden, this car gets in front of me with a Texas license plate. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's a Texas license plate. Like, it's a Texas plate. Is this a sign from God? And literally, like, I look over and it's another car with another Texas license plate. And I was like, 2 Texas license plates. Now, mind you, I said the prayer like maybe a month prior. Like, I said that prayer to God, and then I just forgot about it. Like, I just went on with my life, was living my life, whatever. And literally this happened, and I was like, and it was like, I immediately remembered that I said that prayer, and like, I was like, and like, I knew that was a sign from God. Like, when you know, you just know. Like, I don't know. I had already been so locked in with God. Like, when you know it's a sign from God. And I was like, and like, I remember that day thinking in my mind, like, yeah, I'm moving to Texas. I'm like, yeah, I'm moving. Like, that was my confirmation from God. Yes, I'm moving. And so then after that, every time I would leave my house and get on the road, I saw a Texas license plate, because I don't even know, but it was so weird, and it was so just like serendipitous, and it was just, it was such an eerie feeling that I got. Like, when I tell you, I would leave my house and I would just see a Texas license plate. Like, it would just pop up. It's like, it was like God was telling me, like, come on, Brianna, move, like, go, like, yes, it's Texas, go. Because even though I had made the decision, but I still was like moving my feet pretty slow. Like, I was still like hesitant, but I knew it was like something I needed to do. But I was still hesitant because I had never lived out of Illinois. I've never lived away from my family. That was such a huge move that I was just like, am I really gonna do this? But when I tell you, it got to the point where every time I left my house, I kept seeing Texas license plates over and over again. I would be parked in Jewel's parking lot, the grocery store, and like a car would back in the parking spot in front of me, Texas license plate. I would be on the street at Wingstop or at a restaurant, and a car would literally pull in and park in front of me, Texas license plate. And it was just like, I'm sorry, but it was from God, because I was not seeing Texas license plates before that at all. So it's like God confirmed it, and then he kept doing it, like, Brianna, Texas, go, like, move to Texas, like, what are you doing? So yes, I kept getting those confirmations. So that's when I really started planning my move, and like I went to visit Dallas to look at apartments. So I moved here in April of 2025. So I looked at apartments in January of 2025. So I went to Ghana that December from 2024 to 2025. And as soon as I came back from Ghana, like the next weekend, I had a flight to Dallas to look at apartments. I found an apartment locator through Smart City in Dallas, and he sent me a whole bunch of apartments. I looked at the ones, I looked at them, told him what I liked and what I didn't like, told him everything I wanted, and then I flew into Dallas. We looked at a whole bunch of apartments that whole weekend, like, and even on Sunday, like, he told me he couldn't come with me. I was like, okay. And I went by myself and I toured apartments, narrowed down my options, and I ended up choosing an apartment, but that apartment fell through because the management were not being cooperative. I was just like, okay, I can't live somewhere where management isn't even cooperating with applicants. Like, I know you're gonna treat me bad when I move in. So then I ended up with the apartments that I'm at now, and overall I've had a good experience here. I had a couple little but I've had a great experience here. And funny thing is, so I visited Houston twice, and the second time I visited Houston, I actually I was there for the weekend, and then I added on an extra day to my trip. So that I could visit Dallas. So I visited Dallas on a Monday. And I remember visiting Dallas. Like, I visited my friend that lived here. I remember visiting Houston, and then I added on an extra day to go to Dallas. Cause I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just go see what Dallas is like? Because since I was moving to a new city, I'm just like, well, why don't I explore? Why don't I open my horizons to another city to compare and see which one would be better? But I knew I wanted to move to Texas. Because I'm like, okay, I know I'm supposed to be in Texas, but I'm like, you know what? I just kind of was like, let me just see if I would like Dallas. Like, what's stopping me from exploring Dallas to see what would be a better fit? So I extended a day, went to Dallas, visited my friend that I knew in Dallas. I stayed with her, and we went out to go do stuff. Like, she took me to I think we went to a restaurant, and we went to Deep Ellum. But the only thing is, it was a Monday, so it was actually pretty dry. And I remember really liking the skyline. I'm like, ooh, like, this is a cute skyline. Like, you know, to me it was way better than Houston skyline. And I'm like, ooh, this is a cute skyline. I like this better. And then I remember everything being spread out. My friend lived in the suburbs. And then I remember Deep Ellum, but it was dry because it was a Monday. So nothing really sparked when I went to go visit Dallas. So I was still heavily leaning towards Houston. But then, like, as time went on, I started noticing and hearing a lot of bad things about Houston. Like, there was an Instagram post that said like Houston had the highest rate of STDs, and I was like, ooh, like I don't really like that. And then there was another Instagram post that said Houston was infested, like a lot of apartments was infested with roaches, and I was like, ooh, I don't really like that. And then I had a friend who had lived in Dallas and Houston, and she like really gave Dallas a lot of praise, and she had a really bad experience in Houston, and she also confirmed that like Houston apartments do have roaches. So then I was just like, oh, I don't know about that. And then Houston had a hurricane, and I was like, oh, I do not do hurricanes. Like, I have a fear of natural disasters, and I have a fear of being stuck in a hurricane. Like, I was just like, I can't do no hurricane. Like, and then also their electricity had went out for a couple days. Like, people's cars were damaged. I'm just like, I don't want to experience that. So I'm like, you know what? I actually think Dallas may be a better fit for me, because also a lot of people that live in Houston just told me how it's just a very fast life, and how there's always something to do every day, and like it's kind of easy to get caught up in, you know, doing something every day. And I was just like, ugh, I do not want to get, I'm like, with my job, like, I'm like, I don't want to get caught up in that, or I don't want the distractions. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, I can't live that type of life with my job, and I really don't want them type of distractions. So I'm like, I don't really know if that's my vibe. And then the people that I talked to about Dallas, like, they were just telling me how Dallas is, well, and I did research, and like what I gathered from doing research and speaking to people was that Dallas is a more like upscale city, and that there's a lot of young black professionals in Dallas, and that it's a little bit more bougier, and they said it's a little more like family oriented. Like, and a lot of people said like, oh, Dallas is where you go to like raise a family, whereas Houston is where you would go to party and turn up. So I feel like my vibe was more Dallas, because I was like, okay, well, I'm getting older. Like, you know, I'm in a later portion of my 30s. I'm like, I'm only getting older. I'm like, I want to meet my husband. I want to settle down. And I'm just like, also, you know, I am a little bougie. So I'm just like, Dallas is probably better for me. And I'm like, you know, I could just go to Houston when I want a good little turn up, but when I want a different little vibe, I could just drive to Houston. So that's ultimately how I like decided on moving to Dallas. And I moved here in April of 2025. I rented a U-Haul. I packed up all my stuff. My dad drove with me from Chicago to Dallas. That was the longest drive I have ever done, and I will not do that drive anymore. I will not do that drive anymore. It was so long, and I literally had my car attached to the back of the U-Haul truck, so that added another element to our travel. But yes, that is how I ended up moving to Dallas. That is my story on why I moved to Dallas. I was called to move to Dallas by God. Seriously. And seriously, I really was. And I do not regret moving to Dallas at all. I'm so glad that I moved to Dallas. I really needed a change of environment. I really needed this fresh start, and I needed to I was in the wrong environment. I was surrounded by a lot of the wrong people who were not positively contributing to my life, and I felt like God wanted to remove me from being surrounded by people that didn't truly love me, didn't truly value me, didn't value my presence, didn't value my friendship, didn't pour into me the way I needed to be poured into, and was ultimately like just not productive and conducive for my growth and for who I'm meant to be on this earth. So I'm so glad I moved to Dallas. Like, and I didn't know so many people were moving to Dallas like until I got here, and then I noticed, okay, yeah, a lot of people are coming to Dallas. I had no clue that was a thing. I moved to Dallas because of my own story and what I just shared with you guys. But yeah, a lot of people are moving here, so I did like that, because I'm like, okay, like I can make friends with people that are new here. Also, it's so much stuff to do in Dallas, so many restaurants, So many things to do. If you want to turn up, there's so many options to turn up. If you want to go out to eat, so many restaurants. If you want to do any fun activities, so many fun activities to do. And Dallas has a lot of like workout groups, a lot of networking groups. It's just like, it's so many things to do, and I love like all the new people that I meet. I've met a lot of nice people in Dallas. I will say that I feel like it's easy to talk to people and meet people in Dallas. And they're way more open to meeting new people, and you can make friends easily. You can meet new people easily. Like making friends, that's another conversation, but you can definitely meet a lot of people easily in Dallas, and I love that. And it's a very like entrepreneurial, it's a very business working city. Like there's so many companies headquartered in Dallas, there's so many businesses here, but there's also a lot of people who are entrepreneurs and that own property or real estate and like just get into the bag. Like it's so many people here that's like, you know, career focused, career oriented, like they're on top of their game. They're, you know, whether they're an entrepreneur or they work in corporate, like just grinding into the bag. And I love that. I love that because that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm on. So that is my story on why I moved to Dallas. I was called to move here, and it was 100% the best decision that I've made for myself. I'm so glad that I moved here. It was a big decision. It was a big move. I couldn't believe I was doing it while I was doing it. I was like, oh my gosh. But I knew it had to be done. Like I just knew that this is what God was calling me to do, and I listened, and I don't regret it. Like, so yes, that is my story on why I moved to Dallas. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Let me know if you have a similar story. Let me know if you're thinking about moving to another state. Let me know if you're thinking about moving to Dallas. And stick around for my content because I'm going to be doing a home decor series where I decorate my apartment, and I take you guys along with me to decorate my apartment. So stay tuned.